cactus and succulent growers, I'm Lynn. Welcome to Desert Plants of Avalon in the north of Ireland. And in today's video I'm going to be doing an emergency rescue on this big bowl of Haworthia that I have grown for 41 years. Now then guys, as I mentioned, I've been growing this plant for 41 years. And this is a plant I got when I was just 12 years old. It was one of the cacti and succulents that I got from my brother, Mike, my big brother, when we were both kids, and he bought a load of cacti and succulents from a garden centre. And I grabbed this one off him and a few other ones as well. So it's been in my collection for an extremely long time, since I was a little child. And I'm not actually panicking with how it looks now, and the reason for that is because although this is a big bowl of Haworthia rosettes, it is very easy to save. In fact, I have to sort of do this with this plant, and have done this with this plant over the decades. And this here, I just started to, when I looked at this bowl here, I knew it was looking not the best, and I do need to give it a bit of a emergency sort of save and revamp. But I pulled out just to see what it's looking like, the few of the healthy ones from the top, and as you can see, the roots are just dying back. If you don't keep up on the repotting of them, and most importantly pruning off the dead roots, which I do normally with a lot of, well, all of my Haworthia, after a couple of years, even if they don't look like they need repotting, I'll remove them from the pot and cut off the dried roots, and the fresh roots are always coming through again. This is what they do, and it's the same with Gasteria, I've noticed as well. And I'll just show you here, these are some of the rosettes I pulled out. The old roots will often die back, which is these dead ones here, and the new ones will then start to come through. And if you don't repot them, and it's not a case of just picking them out and putting them into a bigger size pot, which you do with normal plants, if you don't cut back the dead roots and you just put them back in again, or you just don't prune the dead roots off regularly, with at least every 2 to 3 years, you'll get this happen. They'll just sort of die off, and then sometimes it can happen where it can spread all across the plant like this. So this is just like, I've been looking at this for ages, this bowl, and I'm thinking I must take all of this out and cut off the dead roots and then replant it again, because this is what happens. And it's something that's quite normal. As I say, these are great healthy parts here. These are all the rosettes here, and I can remove any rosettes that are gone, and then I can replant it again into either the same bowl or a different bowl. But as I say, over the decades when I've grown this, I've always had to do this, and this particular Haworthia as well seems to be very prone to it. Not a problem, and I'm going to show you how I do it in this video. I've even sometimes with Haworthias, if I've noticed they've not been looking too good, got them out the pot. And I've even had to do this, especially if they've had root mealybugs, rather than all the hassle of trying to just separate all the roots. And I literally sometimes just cut them off at the base, let it callus for a few days, then just plant it back into gritty soil and treat them as cuttings, and they root really, really well. So this disgusting looking bowl here of all dried up, half dead, half alive Haworthia here is going to look really good once I've given it all a pruning of the old roots, and then probably leaving it out for probably about 48 hours to let any cut parts dry up, and then planting up again. So that's what I'm going to be sharing in this video. So then, don't look at how bad this looks at the moment. I'm going to set up the take this outside to do a bit of a revamping on, and show you how I'm going to be doing it. So I'm going to start off by just removing these, obviously, putting them here onto this tray. And because these are damp, the roots are still damp in here, I'm going to probably let this dry for a day or two beforehand, but I'm obviously going to include the whole thing in this video. This one is definitely savable rosette, as you can see, and if it hasn't got any of there's a little bit of root coming through there, no roots as I mentioned, I can just cut them, but I'm going to let these dry anyway. So if you have this happen to any big bowl of your Haworthias. Remove any that are healthy looking. They might not look it, but they can come back, no problem. Oh wow, look at that, guys. Ouch, that is not actually Haworthia. That's actually from one of my cacti that's obviously gone in here. Oh, ouch. Oh dear. Anyway, I'm going to put this cactus spine somewhere safe. So apologies for if you're squeamish with blood, guys. I'm used to being spiked. And there. So I'm just going to be gently teasing these apart here, and then put them all onto the tray. So there we go, guys. That's all the ones out there removed. As you can see, there's nothing wrong with the top part. They just need all these dead bits removing, and also all the dried up leaves. And these are what I'm leaving behind. I'm just going to compost all this because this is all the dead ones. They're not going to be any good. Plenty here. So I'm just going to let these probably dry up, just these bits of the roots here, because when I'm pruning the roots off, the dried up root, it's easier if the soil is dry on them. So I'm going to let this dry just for a day, and then I'm going to show you how I prune off the dead roots and how I remove all of these dried up lower leaves. Woohoo, guys, I've left it today, and as you can see, all the soil has all dried on these, so it's going to be so much easier for me to remove these dead leaves and cut back the dead roots. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm not going to show you the whole entire video me doing all this because it'd be too long for you. So I'm just going to show you a few examples of how I cut back the roots, the dead roots, such as these all on here, and how I remove the dead leaves. And then also I'm going to show you what it's like when it's all done, and also potting them in here. Now I've made the soil mix up, and I've used 3 equal parts of a loam based soil. In this case I'm using a brand by Clover, John Innes number 2. And I've made that with equal parts then of pumice and grit, as you can see here. So it's very well draining. And although I'm going to be cutting back some of the roots here, because this soil, as you can see here, is completely dry, bone dry, then they'll be absolutely fine for me just to cut them back and just stick them straight in here. Normally I'd let them, once I've cut them back, let them also dry for a day or two, but they'll, as I say, the soil is totally dry, it's not going to hurt. And then once I've potted them in here, I'm also going to leave it dry then for about 10 days before I start to very slowly introduce a bit of water. As I say, a lot of these have already got roots coming through anyway. And I have actually made a video, it was a good few years ago now, but when I'm repotting aloes, gasterias and haworthias and agaves as well sometimes too, I do the process of cutting back the dead roots. And I have made a video a few years ago when I did this, so I'll link that video up above, so do go ahead and watch that video after this one as I go through the whole process there as well. But first of all, I'm going to start, there's quite a lot here as you can see. I'm going to set up the stand and just show you how I cut back the roots and remove the leaves, the dead leaves on these. Now then, I've got the little bucket here to put all the dead leaves in and the dead roots. I'm just going to show you a couple of examples in here rather than show you doing the whole entire lot. So first of all, I'll pick this one up. Now this is actually 2 together, obviously grown from the same tuber root there. And this looks, don't know whether they need to separate them or not. I think it's pretty much okay. You can see here, the roots are coming through, the new fleshy healthy ones. So what I'm going to be doing here, first of all, is twisting off these dead leaves. And they come off really easy. And Haworthias, as they mature and grow, they often drop. Often the lower leaves, you have to remove them, and it's good to do this because not only does it look tidier, but also any pests such as mealybug or other type of pest can hide in between these dead leaves. So that's good to do, and it makes it look tidier. How do I cut this back? I'm going to keep this because this part here, although these are the new roots, this is also not dead, it's healthy. I'm just going to cut this bit back here. So then the next here, removing the leaves. And this is why I wanted to film this actually with this video, because this is something that is quite common, happens to these type of Haworthias. And some brilliant, it's going to look brand new, this plant. You'd never think that it's 41 years old. And here we go here. So this obviously, this is died back here. As you can see, this is all dead. And I can just pinch off with my fingers. It's absolutely fine. And then get the scissors here to, pruning shears to cut back this. This is clearly dead. Yep, and cut back. You want to make sure you cut into fresh. You can see that's it. So I may have to, depending on how this looks. Oh, that's fresh, as you can see. There you go. That's the fresh there. So I'm just going to put that aside. So that's as good as done. And when I pop that in, that means all these new roots could come through here. So look at that, nice and tidy. So that's the first one. I'm just going to put that aside. I'm going to show you with another example. I get this nice big one here. Again, the same thing. Twisting off these dead old lower leaves here. And it's so therapeutic to give plants that need a good old tidy up and a revamp. You can make them look so much better, and sometimes you'll think your plants are dying, they just need a tidy up and a freshen up. That lower one is going to remove. There we go. There, and you can see these little fresh roots coming through. This is all the old died parts. I'm just going to literally just cut this right back. Again, there you go, it's fresh there, look. Twist this off. This root is sort of fresh, so it's okay. One last one here, just so you can see, so you know what to do, and then I'll show you what it's like when it's all done. There we go. There, these are great roots here all coming through, and this looks quite fresh as well. So you'll know when to cut back the old dead root here. That actually looks quite fresh, as you can see. I'm just going to cut it though, just to make sure. Yep, you can see it's fresh, no brown, so that's great. There we go, just removing all the lower leaves. And what I'm going to do now is carry on with all the rest of them, as there's quite a lot, as you can see. I don't want to bore you all and have this video too long. Just want to show you an example, couple of examples here, and then show you what it's like when it's all done. Then I can show you potting them up. And as I say, lovely fresh root there, and this is the old bit, so just a case of chop. There you go, and it's make sure you get down to fresh. And as I said, normally if it probably was a different time of year, it was the winter, I would let this dry for about 24 hours again before potting in. But it is summer now, as good as summer, and the soil I'm using is totally dry, been no problem sticking out. I've even rooted Haworthia when I've cut them like this in water, so it'll be absolutely fine with this type of plant anyway. That's them all cut and pruned and removed the dead leaves, and all cut back there to the fresh healthy base, and it looks so much better already. And I've got the soil here in the pot, Haworthia attenuata. Got the label there done, so that's going to be going in. I'm just going to show you some examples of me putting it in here, and then show you what it looks like when it's all been done. So first of all, I'm going to focus on the biggest ones. I'm going to get them out. Ones that are obviously with the largest rosettes. Here we go, this one that's got the two joined together. I'll just pull this back so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. I'm going to be putting that in the middle there, the hole, shoving it in like that. Pushing the soil, you want to make sure the soil covers all of them new healthy roots there. And the same with this one here. Tucking it in. I'm just going to show you a few examples of me doing this so I don't bore you with the whole thing. There. Tucking it in, and this one here as well. Go at the back. Woohoo! That's them all planted up. And halfway through planting these, I had a bit of a change of plan because I wanted to give these more space. They need airflow around them, as you can see. So the largest one I actually decided in the end to put into a separate pot here. And that's the one that was joined together. and that's going to do really well in its own little pot. I think it looks absolutely lovely like that as well. And then all the smaller ones I've put here into the bowl, and plenty of space around them, so they've got loads of space to grow. And I'm going to put this one under the table, just get a little bit more shade where we've got a lot of our other Haworthias, because they seem to, anyway, in my opinion, they seem to like a little bit more shade than too much direct sun. They do tend to go this sort of deep colour when they get a lot of sunshine. And this was one that was sort of covered a little bit by the others, so it had more shade, which is why it's so much greener, which is how it really should look. So, happy days, that's that done. What a transformation. I managed to save and revamp and restart my Haworthia attenuata that I've had since I was just 12 years old. And it's still going, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't done already, then do please subscribe and click that notification bell. You can follow me on Insta, Twitter and Facebook at Desert Plants of Avalon for lots of photos on there of all of the cacti and succulents that are blooming gorgeous at the moment. And do check out many growing tips as well as regular blogs on my website, desertplantsofAvalon.com. I want to wish you all a fantastic cactus and succulent plant powered day.